Good day. I am Gapuzan and my co-partner is Carl Dave Lanestosa. Today, we will talk about the TIA or the Telecommunications Industry Association. So what is TIA? So the Telecommunication Industry Association is the leading trade association representing the global information and the communications technology or ICT industry through standards development, policy initiatives, business opportunities, market intelligence, and networking events. With support from hundreds of members, the TIA enhances the business environment for companies involved in telecom, broadband, mobile, wireless, information technology, networks, cable, satellite, unified communications, emergency communications, and the greening of technology. Also, the TIA is accredited by the ANSI. So here is the history of the TIA. Way back 1924, a small group of suppliers to the independent telephone industry organized to plan an industry trade show. Later that group became a committee of the United States Independent Telephone Association. The Communications Act of 1934 was signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt for the purpose of regulating interstate and foreign commerce in communication by wire and radio communications and created the Federal Communications Commission or the FCC to execute and enforce the provisions of the Act. Well, in 1941, the group of telecommunication suppliers becomes a formal committee of the United States Independent Telecommunication Association. While in 1957, the Association for the Radio Electronic Television Manufacturers, or the RETMA, is renamed the Electronic Industries Association, or the EIA. In 1959, the members of EIA published the first voluntary industry-led structural standards for steel transmitting antennas supporting steel towers, or the EIA RS 222. So here, the Committee of Telecommunication Suppliers at the US in 1979 is the Independent Telephone Association splits off as a separate but affiliated association, the United States Telecommunications Suppliers Association, or the USTSA, and becomes one of the world's premier organizers of telecom exhibitions and seminars. In 1984, the first electronic serial number or ESN number is assigned by EIA, allowing for the identification of phones on the wireless network. Way back in April of 1988, the Telecommunication Industries Association is officially formed through the merger of two groups, the United States Telecommunication Suppliers Association and the Information and Telecommunication Technologies Group of the Electric Industries Association. For the next 12 years, TIA advocates for numerous policy issues on behalf of its members, sponsors critical engineering committees that sets the standards determining the pace of development in the industry, providing a marketplace for members and their customers to do business, and serves as forum for the examination of industry issues and industry information. Well, in 1991, the TIA publishes the ANSI TIA 568. It is a requirement addressing the structured cabling system, standards for commercial buildings and between buildings in campus, environments for telecommunication products and services. Initiated by TIA in 1992. The CDMA 2000, it is a family of 3G mobile technology standards for sending voice data and signaling data between mobile phones and cell sites, is created and becomes a registered trademark of the TIA. While in 1994, the US Congress passes the law, the Communication Assistance for Law Enforcement Act, or the CALEA. The TIA leads the development of the voluntary consensus-based lawful interception standard to comply with CALEA JSTD 025 through collaboration with the telecommunications equipment manufacturers, service providers, government agencies, academic institutions, and end users. In 1996, the Telecommunications Act was the first significant overhaul of telecommunications law in more than 60 years, amending the Communications Act of the 1934. The Act provided a deregulatory national policy framework designed to accelerate the rapid private sector deployment of advanced information and communication technologies and service to all Americans by opening all telecommunications markets to competitions. Well, in the fall of 2000, the Multimedia Telecommunications Associations, or the MMTA, is integrated into TIA, and the association's restructures internally to focus on global marketplace development. So the TIA defines operating rules assigned for MEID and EUIM-ID administrations to identify mobile services for recognition by the 3G network. It happens way back 2007. Well, the Act of 2009, the TIA successfully advocates for the $7.2 billion toward the broadband infrastructure investment in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. So, in 2011, the TIA now launches as the premier online video network, providing an outlet of industry insight, thought, leadership, and education through video webinars, live panel discussions, custom video productions, documentaries, and more. So the TIA advocacy efforts leads to the addition of $9 billion to the FCC's Universal Service Fund, or the USF, and modernization of the program to include the broadband. While in 2012, the TIA successfully advocates for the passage of the Title VI of the Middle Class Tax Relief and Job Creation Act of 2012, otherwise known as the Spectrum Act. The law significantly reshaped American spectrum policy, including the authorizing more spectrum, auctions, and creating a nationwide public safety broadband network, driving huge benefits for communities, companies, and the consumers. In 2014, the TIA secures passage of the Enhanced Labeling Access. In 2014, the TIA secures passage for the Enhanced Labeling, Accessing, and Branding of Electronic License Act, or the E-Label Act, which President Barack Obama signed into law, which is the Public Law Number 113-197, requiring the FCC to circulate regulations to allow manufacturers of radio frequency devices with display the option to use electronic labeling for the equipment in place of affixing physical labels to the equipment. But in 2017, the FCC completed the first of its kind voluntary incentive auction to provide new spectrum for mobile broadband. The Quest Forum is a global association dedicated to common performance, quality metrics, and sustainability in the ICT industry, is integrated into TIA. The merger expands TIA's global community to more than 500 members, engineering committee, and partner organizations across the America, Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. So now, we are going to discuss the organizational structure of the TIA. So the TIA is a member-driven organization. Board members are selected from member companies and formulate policies to be carried out by our policy staff in Washington, D.C. This TIA staff also carry out activities through TIA's other departments, standards and technology, market intelligence, marketing and membership, and events. The TIA's product-oriented divisions, user premises equipment, wireless communications, fiber optics, network, and satellite communications, addresses the legislative and regulatory concerns of products and manufacturers. The TIA also sponsored committees of experts preparing standards dealing with performance testing and compatibility. In addition to the TIA's product-oriented division, this association has also a communications research division, which is the CRD. The role of the CRD is to ensure the U.S. communications sector continues to be a world leader in advanced research. The division provides expert advice to the government and the TIA on the status of the impact of research and technology to the communications industry and educate the public on the importance of the communications research as a foundation for the communications products and services on which they depend. So as we goes by, the TIA becomes successful and has the TIAonline.org, or they create a website. The TIA's website is designed to be a business facilitator and an informal portal promoting industry awareness of telecom standards, issues, events, and market development opportunities while inviting open discussion. So the employees here, or the employees of member companies, can sign up for a personalized search for standards, then click through to the purchase. Search or browse our press archives, download market development white papers and teleforum transcripts, order a publication online, view PowerPoint presentations posted from past events, and much more. So let's give the time to Carl to discuss the TIA engineering committees.
Well, good morning again, everyone. I'm Lanestosa, and I'm here to continue the discussion. So now we are on the slide that tackles about the committee. So here we have the TIA engineering committees. A major function of the Telecommunications Industry Association, or the TIA, is the writing and maintenance of voluntary industry standards and specifications. These activities are carried out by the volunteer members of the TIA engineering committees. TIA's standards division convenes communities of interest around 9 engineering committees and is the administrator for a number of U.S. technical advisory groups. These communities conduct the writing and maintenance of voluntary, industry-driven, consensus-based standards and specifications for ICT industry. So, TIA engineering committees. On the public engineering committees pages, users will find recent meeting reports, agendas, and notices for the upcoming meetings, as well as the links to some of the most popular standards from each committee. So, the users can also find in the page, like the meeting calendar, meeting sign-in, committee tools and ballot login, TIA engineering committee scopes, TIA engineering committee procedures. This committee develops telecommunications standards for copper and optical fiber cabling components in user-owned buildings, addressing cable topology, outlet configuration, and system design, among other related interests. So under the TIA engineering committees, we have the TR8, or the Mobile and Personal Private Radio Standards, the TR14, Structural Standard for Communication and Small Wind Turbine Support Structures. We have also the TR34, the Satellite Equipment and Systems, the TR41, the Performance and Accessibility for Communications Products, and also the TR42, the Telecommunications Cabling Systems. Also, we have the TR45, which is the Mobile and Point-to-Point Communication Standards, the TR48, which is the Vehicular Telematics, TR50, which is the M2M Smart Device Communications, TR51, the Smart Utility Networks, and lastly, the U.S. Technical Advisory Groups, or TAGs, and under it we have the IEC, System Committee, Smart Cities. So TIA TR42 serves as an umbrella group for multiple task forces and works toward accommodating evolving technologies affecting the interests of its member. So now we have the TIA TR42, or the Telecommunications Cabling System. We have different TR42, but now we will focus on the TR42, or the Telecommunications Cabling System. Develops and maintains voluntary telecommunications standards for telecommunications cabling infrastructure in user-owned buildings such as commercial buildings, residential buildings, homes, data centers, industrial buildings, etc. The generic cabling topologies, design, distance, and outlet configuration, as well as the specifics for this location, are addressed. The committee standards work covers requirements for copper and optical fiber cabling components such as cables, connectors, and cable assemblies, the installation and field testing, in addition to the administration, pathways, and spaces support the cabling. So now let's proceed to TIA approved standards under the TIA TR42. So first we have the ANSI/TIA-0 607-B-1 are the generic telecommunications grounding or earthing and bonding for customer premises, addendum 1 for building electrodes. And also we have the ANSI/TIA-569-C-1 or the telecommunications pathways and spaces, addendum 1, revised temperature and humidity requirements for telecommunications spaces. The next one is the ANSI/TIA-942-A-1 or the telecommunications infrastructure standard for data centers, addendum 1, cabling guidelines for data center fabrics. Next, we have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.0 to 1 rather, or generic telecommunications cabling for customer premises, addendum 1, updated reference for balanced twisted pair cabling. It was approved last April of 2012. The ANSI-TIA-607-B are also known as generic telecommunications grounding or earthing and bonding for customer premises. We also have the ANSI/TIA-758-B are also known as customer-owned outside plant telecommunications infrastructure standard. We also have the ANSI-TIA-568-C.1 to 1, or also known as commercial building telecommunications cabling standard, addendum 1, pathway and spaces. Next, we have the ANSI/TIA-569-C, or also known as Telecommunications Pathway and Spaces. It was approved last May of 2012. It is a generic pathways and spaces for customer-owned premises. We also have the ANSI/TIA-606-B, or the Administration Standard for Telecommunications Infrastructure. It was approved last June of 2012, Administration Standard for Telecommunications Infrastructure, including cables, connectors, pathway, and spaces. We also have the ANSI/TIA-1005-A, or the Telecommunications Infrastructure Standard for Industrial Premises. And also the ANSI/TIA-570-C, or the Residential Telecommunications Infrastructure Standard. We also have the We also have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.022, or the generic telecommunications cabling for customer premises, addendum 2, general updates, and it was approved last August of 2012. We also have the ANSI/TIA-1183, are the measurement methods and test fixtures for Powerless measurements of balanced components and systems. We also have the ANSI/TIA-862-A, or the Building Automation Systems Cabling Standard. It was approved last April of 2011, cabling and infrastructure in support of building automation devices such as fire alarms, energy management, and security. We also have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.4, or the broadband coaxial cabling and component standards. The next one is we have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.1 to 2, or the commercial building telecommunications cabling standards, addendum 2, general updates. And also we have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.3 to 1, optical, or the optical fiber cabling component standard, addendum 1, addition of OM4 cabled optical fiber and array connectors. We also have the ANSI-TSB-155, or the guidelines for assessment and mitigation of installed category 6 cabling to support 10G base-T. It was approved last March of 2010, the guidelines for the assessment and mitigation of installed category C cabling to support the 10G base-T. Now, we have the ANSI/TIA-1179, or the Healthcare Facility Telecommunications Infrastructure Standard. It was approved last July of 2010. The purpose of this standard is it's enable the planning and installation of a structured cabling system for healthcare facilities and buildings. Now we have the ANSI/TIA-526-14-B, or the OFST-P-14, or the Optical Powerless Measurement of Installed Multi-Mode Fiber Cable Plant. It was approved last 2010 of October. The intent of this document is to establish preferred measurement principles and practices to assure that meaningful data describing the optical loss performance of installed cable plant can be obtained. Now we have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.0 or the generic telecommunications cabling for customer premises. We also have the ANSI/TIA-942-A or the telecommunications infrastructures standard for data centers. And we also have the ANSI-TSB-184 or the guidelines for supporting power delivery over balanced twisted pair cabling. We also have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.2 or the Commercial Building Telecommunications Cabling Standard Part 2 Balanced Twisted Pair Cabling Components. And also we have the ANSI-TSB-184 or the Environmental Classification or MICE tutorial. We also have the ANSI/TIA-568-C.3 or the Optical Fiber Cabling Component Standard. We also have the ANSI/TIA-526-7-B or the OFSTP-7 or the measurement of optical power loss of installed single-mode fiber cable plant. It was approved last December of 2008. The intent of this document is to establish preferred measurement principles and practices to assure that meaningful data describing the optical loss performance of installed cable plant can be obtained. We also have the ANSI-TSB-162 or the Telecommunications Cabling Guidelines for Wireless Access Points. You can see the sample photo below. And also lastly, we have the ANSI/TIA-598 or the Optical Fiber Cabling Coding, and you can see this figure above. Now let's proceed to the TIA technology programs. Quote, in a time of technological transformation, connectivity is the foundation upon which modern innovation is built. TIA's technology programs aim to enable the next generation of connected technology. That is according to Telecommunications Industry Association. And I think we've come to an end of this report. Again, we are the TIA Team Cream. My co-reporter, Leslie Pearl Gapuzan, and I am Carl Dave Lanestosa, saying thank you for staying. We do hope that you have learned something new today. Let us all chase our dreams, work hard and smarter, be patient, be considerate, be responsible, trust God and the process. Let us all be successful electrical engineers sooner. Kudos to all of us, and let's keep on fighting, moving forward. Again, thank you so much.